Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third session of the Oblivion Oath. Hi there, I'm your Game Master, Jason Bulmahn, and I've got 4 amazing players here to have a great time in another session of this campaign. Before we get started, I got a couple little notes I want to make sure to share. First of all, we are absolutely thrilled with the number of people who have been watching this show and participating and chatting with us online about it. It's been a lot of fun. Make sure to tell your friends about it. We just want more eyeballs. The more eyeballs, the better. So keep watching, folks. We love all your enthusiasm. Next up, I want to note that many of you have noticed that we're using coins for hero points. And we got those coins donated to us from campaign coins. Now, the coins we were using were the Curvosan crowns. But just here today, and we almost didn't even expect them to show up today, we got these incredibly awesome Pathfinder Second Edition coins from the fine folks at Campaign Coins. They show off the awesome Pathfinder P on one side, and on the front side they show the glyph of the open road, the symbol of the Pathfinder Society. So these are our new hero coins that we're using during this stream, so you can expect to find those from Campaign Coins coming soon. All right, let's see. I've got that note there about an awesome gift of Night Trace, but I'll save that for later. All right, everybody ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. When we last left our intrepid band of adventurers, yeah, get used to that. I say that at the beginning of every session. So the 4 of you boarded a boat in Lastwall, in the city of Loomes. You began the long trek, making your way to Qundle. You know the story. You lived the story. You met a number of interesting characters on the way. Sir Terald, Heliana Ironeye, a family, an elf, a silent elf bearing the bodies of the dead. You met all these folks. Poor Pembroke. And the 4 of you made this journey. You passed Ustalav and began the journey south, heading towards Qundle, and that's when everything went wrong. Late one night, bursting out of the coffins were zombies and a pair of ghouls. And very quickly, the boat turned into kind of a horror scene. The zombies were running to and fro. The ghouls were fighting Heliana and you. A fire started in the aft castle, and soon the boat began to sink and lose its integrity and come to pieces. Folks ended up in the water. You guys did a valiant effort fighting off the zombies and ghouls, protecting them from getting at most of the passengers. But in the end, the one thing you couldn't save was the sleepy sea cat itself. Aww. And you found yourselves dumped in the water, and everything went dark. You woke up on the beach, amidst flotsam and jetsam, the remnants of the sleepy sea cat washing ashore. And it didn't seem like there were any other survivors near you, or at least you didn't think that, until you saw a hand raised from a body nearby. Making your way over, you saw it was Sir Terald. He was terribly burned, horribly disfigured from fire. It looks like he didn't make it off the boat until the boat actually sank, so it looks like he sat up in the fire and was burned horribly. He looked in really bad shape, and he was holding out a hand. And that is when, Qundle, you went up, grasped his hand, and he held it tight like iron as you all gathered around. And he looked at you, and through tear-soaked eyes, said it wasn't supposed to happen like this. And immediately after that, gripping your hand tightly, he began speaking words that none of you understand, that didn't make any sense. They didn't sound like, they weren't common, that's for sure. And as he said them, your vision started to tunnel and darken, and you found yourselves not together, but each individually looking out upon a plain of bone. And far off in the distance was this bone-white, crumbling heap lit by green flames. And in a flash, that was gone, and you were back to yourselves in the exact same poses that you were. You didn't fall over anything. It's like that was just a blink in your consciousness. And as you stood there, Sir Terald crumbled to ash. Like, literally, you still have the ash in your hand. And looking at each other, you noticed that you all had key tattoos that one of you spied on his wrist just before he died. And now all of you have this black key tattoo on each one on your wrists. And I believe, Qundle, around your neck, there is a fine silver chain at the end of which is a bone white key. That's where we left off. So, on that cheery note, we will pick up right where we left off. As a matter of fact, at that exact moment, we're not advancing time or anything, we're right there. Qundle still has a handful of ash as the night has crumbled away to dust. You are on a beach. It is right around dawn. And I should note, the sun is not over the water. The sun looks like it would set over the water, so the sun is rising over a faraway forest that is to your east. Or at least you would assume the sun still rises in the east. But you're on a beach, and there's just kind of scrum around you and sand. But not far, but maybe a mile to the north is a city that you can see glittering in the pre-dawn light. So, that's where you are.
So, Qundle will slowly look at everyone standing around and then go, take the key off, throw it down the beach.
Lost your microphone there.
Lost my microphone. So, guys, if you can't hear me after this, I apologize.
You're too excited about
Yes, no. Yeah. Qundle clearly freaks out. He'll roll about. He's gnawing at his forearm. He'll kick along the beach.
Oh, are you doing the kind of like kick around in a loop kind of thing? Yeah,
and every few seconds stops and gnaws on the tattoo, trying to get it off his skin.
So you throw the key away, and then start kicking around, and it's back on your neck.
Hey, you're never gonna lose that. That's useful.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I am not taking that.
Yeah, Zell will take it. Zell's pretty excited about this tattoo, too. He's like, oh, I've been trying to get these. They don't work so well on me.
Oh, because it scales?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you have very fine scaling for a lizard folk.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Tattoos don't really hold well on your hide.
Hit or miss.
Well. So you take the key, and you have it. What do you do with it?
Do you want it? Your magic.
Okay.
Here you go, bestie.
I'll put it on my neck for now, since Qundle doesn't seem to want it.
Okay.
And
so that apparently works. You now have the key.
okay. And so Mike is gonna be a little like freaked out from that vision, and you'll notice her hair is like tiny bit kind of like green and white, like.
And before it was purple.
It was like pinkish fuchsia, yeah. And there's just like little bits of it, and she'll kind of like, did you all see that castle?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Qundle, just trying to deny reality.
Yeah.
It's great.
The key makes it so you don't see it.
Oh.
So I want to note a little something to each of you. First of all, your packs and stuff, those are gone. Zell, your armor, which you weren't wearing when you went in the drink, gone. Many of your like spare weapons, like if you had crossbows and stuff that, you weren't sleeping with it, gone. But most of the things you used in the fight, you managed to keep hold of and made it to shore. Also, little tiny personal affectations, things like, Zell, I'm assuming you buckled on your belt when you got into the fight because that's what had your sword. So you have like your thieves' tools and stuff like that.
All right.
I also want to note, none of you have healed up any hit points because you spent the night in the lake in Carthen. And all of you are fatigued, bordering on exhaustion. But right now you're just fatigued. That's going to give you a penalty of 1 to your AC and saving throws. You don't get any benefits from any exploration actions that you would try and do. And you can't get rid of that until you get a full night's rest in a comfortable environment. And I should note, none of you have tents or bedrolls or anything like that, so you can't even make a comfortable environment right now.
I had a tent.
All right, so I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. I think Carina is going to pray to Pharasma and say, just like, what is going on? She's supposed to be waiting for a sign, but this does not feel right. And so she's going to pray and see if there's any guidance from her goddess.
All right.
Okay.
So for those of you who, I should note, who can prepare spells and whatnot, you have not had the night's rest that would allow you to re-prepare your spell slots. So you're stuck with whatever you had beforehand. Did you use your focus spell?
I
I'm trying to
did.
remember.
Yes,
okay.
I
so
used it.
if you spend 10 minutes, praying to Pharasma and looking for guidance, you can get the focus point back.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that.
All right. So Carina begins praying to Pharasma, offering up prayers. What are the rest of you doing while this is happening?
You okay?
Yeah.
You okay?
Mostly, yeah.
Qundle starts running down the beach screaming away from the group.
Okay, so you checked to make sure everyone was okay,
Yes.
and now you're running.
Yep.
What direction are you running?
Away from the city.
Oh, so you're heading south.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you start running south.
Screaming.
Screaming. All right.
Wait, come back.
He'll stop.
Please.
You don't have to, but are you okay?
No.
You want help?
Yes.
We can try.
He'll come slumping back with his ears very droopy.
Aww. Emotive goblin ears. They're the best. All right. So actually, funny enough, you are actually all still pretty wounded, and I know Zell and I think Qundle, you're both pretty badly hurt. You do still have your medicine pouch, or in this case, your pickle pouch.
There's the eating pickles.
Oh, the eating pickles.
And then there's the
Healing
medicinal pickles.
Yeah, right.
That is 2 separate pouches.
Yeah, that's
mess
fair.
them up.
Yeah, right. So you do still have those if you want to make a medicine check and try and heal somebody up.
All right.
Do you think
Does
the
that hurt?
ash of this guy would be useful for spells? Because my brother always was
No,
into this kind
it's
of
not.
stuff. Oh,
You should not collect it.
of course not. Why would I do
I think
that?
she goes
Down
back
like
to
a
praying.
handful of it.
Yeah.
You just open one eye. Nope, don't do it.
Yeah, so funny enough, Sir Terald, his armor and stuff is there, but even that looks like it's starting to corrode. Like,
Yeah, don't touch it.
preternaturally.
Let's just leave it alone.
His badge is still there. That looks like it's okay, but his armor itself looks like it's corroding away.
I take his badge.
Okay.
Stop touching the weird man that turned into ash.
Well, he's just ash now. He's no
What if
longer
it's
a man.
catchy?
You touched him first, to be honest.
He wasn't ash at the time.
That's fair.
I don't touch ash people.
That's fair.
Qundle will run to the ocean and start scrubbing his hand.
Okay. While you're there, you're trying to scrub the tattoo, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Okay,
unsurprisingly.
so Mikah
Yes.
and Carina are like the control group, and you two are what we need to keep an eye on to see what happens.
The chaos
Experimental
factor.
group A, experimental group B.
Since when are gnomes ever the control group?
Wizard gnomes it turns out, have a higher level of the arcane method.
Okay.
Oh,
Just
sure.
a little
Makes sense. Just a tiny
Yeah,
bit.
just a hair. All right.
I think we should go to that city.
Why?
Because we're tired.
So
The
are
city's
there,
far away.
after the 10 minutes are up, Carina would start looking around to see, is there any indication in the nearby area of stuff or people that have also been washed up?
You're not seeing any, but you are kind of the beach terrain is a little hilly, so you don't really have a great view of like a long way. The only reason you can see this city is that it looks like it looks like the sort of city that has a big hill inside of it, and even from here you can make out kind of the like marble buildings and golden columns and stuff of the hill.
No city. No.
But the bit around it is all lower. You can make out a good view of it from here.
I think we're probably all too exhausted to have any sort of effective search party for other survivors. I think that we should go towards the city, see if we can find a city guard or something like that who can send people out to look for survivors.
City guard.
Do you still have your cloak with your little hood that you could put over your ears?
No, it burned and then it got covered in stuff. And
You
then it was,
have part of it.
you said
Yeah.
those flotsam and jetsam.
Yeah.
Is there sailing on the
Sure. Yeah. There's a bit
Qundle
of
will drop what's left of his original cloak, wander over to the beach, and you all will see why his cloak was so tattered to begin with, since he recovers he doesn't have his knife, because I threw it at a ghoul and lost it, will take his spear and start using the spearhead to cut a rough cloak shape from a stretch of sail, while muttering something in Goblin under his breath the whole time that does not sound complimentary.
So
I'm curious what that is because Carina does speak Goblin.
I want to go to the city, and I'm going to have to talk to the guards, and the guards will kick me, and people will be mad, and people will think I'm going to burn everything to the ground. And I don't have my original cloak, and I don't have my second cloak, and I'm going to have a big, wet, salty sail cloak, and it's probably going to be covered in goblin goo.
So while you're doing that, give me a craft check. Even if you don't have craft, it's an int check if you don't have it.
8 total.
Okay, it is a particularly lousy cloak. But it's literally little more than just a draped sail over you. Like you weren't able to get enough or get it right to have like armholes or anything like that. It's really just kind of a giant water-soaked rag you've kind of draped over yourself. But, I mean, it's better than the cloak you had.
He will wrap the water-soaked rag as much around his giant melon-shaped head as he possibly can.
It's almost like some weird sort of turban now. But not nice. It's dirty.
Since he doesn't have a mirror,
it's fine. Yeah.
Zell gives you a thumbs up. He's like, looking good.
Will point at some of the stab marks and wounds and injuries on your arm and burns. Does that hurt?
Yeah. I figure if we could get an inn or something, it would be nice in the city.
Would you like it to hurt less?
I would love that.
So you have two options for that. I don't know what magic you have left, but you also, I'm assuming, have medicine.
Yes, I have medicine.
And if you would like to attempt to treat his wounds, you can do so.
We'll pull out the medicinal pickle mount and start making pickle poultices and wrapping it with what appears to be pickled plant leaves.
All right, so the way this works is you will need to make a medicine skill check. Because you're trained, you can only shoot at the lowest DC, which is a 15.
Yep.
Go ahead and make that check.
I will get an 18.
An 18. So an 18 is a success, not a critical success, so you are able to bandage him up and heal him for 2d8.
Oh. Nice.
Hey, it's nice.
7.
Oh, nice.
So he gives you back 7 hit points, but that's all you can do for right now. Later on, you might be able to treat him some more, but right now, that's all. And that takes about 10 minutes, and you're doing that. So while he's treating, while Qundle's treating Zell, Mikah, do you have anything you wanted to do?
Well, I'm gonna kind of look at the key that I now have and examine it and be weirded out by it.
So it's a bone key. It looks really old.
Yeah.
It's pretty, it looks like it once had rich carvings and details on it, but it's now very worn. And how something that's really old and maybe made of ivory or bone, how it, the details can get just slowly wiped away over time. They just smooth out. It looks like that. So it's hard to make out really a lot about it other than the fact that it's pretty ornate. And it's on this old kind of tarnished silver chain.
Does it look like the same shape as the tattoos we know?
It is almost identical.
I'm just gonna kind of hold it up and go,
Same size, about the same, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think honestly, probably I'm just gonna flip through my spell book and see if there's anything useful about it, but I kind of doubt to find anything in there.
Well, do you have Detect Magic prepared?
I do,
as a
yes.
cantrip?
I believe it.
So you could send out a pulse and at least learn whether or not it's magic if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Start with that.
Yeah.
Okay, because you know your friends and what they have and don't have, and in this case, they don't have anything. You're able to send out a pulse and detect that the key does indeed radiate magic, or there's something magical about it, but you can't really learn more about it with your level of skill.
Okay.
Once you're more powerful, you may be able to learn more with Detect Magic, but right now, the fact that it's magic is about all you can learn.
All right. Magic matches tattoo. Check. That's all I've got right now.
You start going through your spell book, and I mean, as best you can, right? Because you get to a certain point, and the rest of the book is complex gibberish to you.
Yes.
So you start flipping through it, and you get into ridiculous things, but you don't really see anything that matches it. Not that you really expected to, but maybe, right? But yeah, you look around and you're not really seeing anything.
Better to look and not find anything than 3 years from now go, oh, here it is.
Oh, no, it's on page 14.
If only.
We really should have checked.
Once you're holding the bone key, the following things are revealed in your magic book.
Dang it.
Yeah, so that's that.
Okay, and I'm going to kind of take a minute to shake my shock away, and my hair will turn back to the bright pink that it was.
All right. Yeah, that's that. I think you can change that during your daily preparations.
I
which
think
this period kind of
It's
is right now.
it's one action.
Oh, yeah. All right.
do
Oh, that's right.
very small
We changed
changes.
that up a bit. It
Yeah.
used to be just during your daily preparations, but tiny changes you can do on the fly.
Yeah.
Cool.
So are we
Advantages of being a chameleon gnome.
are we about ready to start hiking toward the city?
Yeah, I'm feeling great.
Are you
I
here?
have no, I'm good. I have an idea here for you, Qundle, that might make you feel a little better. If Mikah and I kind of go in the front, gnomes and dwarves aren't that uncommon, and then Zell can kind of stand in the back next to you. Everybody's gonna see the lizard folk. I'm sorry, Eruxy, and they're not even gonna
I
notice
thought
you.
it was Zell.
Zell, yeah.
Yes,
Zell?
Zell the Eruxy.
Zell the Eruxy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just
Oh,
Zell.
God. Quundle now thinks your last name is the Eruxy.
The Eruxy?
But
Qundle Whiteman.
Nice to meet you. I'm Zell the Eruxy.
Are you
but
hurting?
everybody's gonna notice him. They're not even
Just
gonna
a
look at
tiny
you.
bit, but I think
you
I'll
are?
be okay.
Yeah, no. You do magic
Yeah,
and you're hurting?
yeah.
No, people that do magic don't wander around hurting. That's bad.
Micah, you should
Okay.
get some of these pickle healings.
Okay. I like pickles.
Let me try to help.
Okay.
Oh, you like pickles?
Yeah, I like pickles.
Do you like a pickle?
Sure.
Do you
And is it an
Healing.
eating pickle or
Yeah.
a medicinal pickle?
That's
well,
a good
you
question.
don't eat medicinal pickles. They're sour.
Wait.
That antiseptic taste of the medicinal pickle. Just, I mean, if you're desperate, maybe.
I don't have all my pickles. Some of them were in my bag, but I still have my pickled turnips, my pickled onions, my pickled pickles, and my pickled cow ears.
Oh. Wow, there's a whole menu.
Well, those are my emergency pickles.
Oh, I don't want to take your emergency pickles.
Well, they'll go bad eventually, and not for a long
Not
time.
for a long.
So, as this discussion is happening,
Karina's just sitting there like, what is my life?
Karina, what is your perception?
Perception is +4.
+4.
Yep.
Zell, what's your perception?
6 + 6.
All right. Zell. Yeah, these two are talking about emergency pickles and their supply therein. Karina is holding her head and deeply considering her life choices. But you're just kind of like humans, right? or humanoids, right?
Yeah, no humans.
Yeah, no humans actually.
Yeah.
But
Soft scales.
soft scales.
Mammals.
And mammals. They're hilarious.
Are goblins mammals?
Oh yes,
Oh yeah,
they
quite.
give live birth.
Yeah.
And then
so,
dump it in a raising cage.
yeah.
right.
I've heard of horse rearing methods. So you are looking around, and that's when you notice them.
Oh.
Them.
Riding up, riding on your location, is about 7, maybe 8 riders on horses. And 2 of them are on the outside carrying streaming banners. They don't look like, so to be clear, they don't look like bandits or something where they're
They look like
trying to stick up.
They're
professionals.
announced.
This looks like a patrol or somebody carrying like the banners of a group. And you can see from this distance, the banner is this kind of yellow and purple divided field, in the center of which is an ivory mask.
I'm going to say,
Looks like the sleepy sea cat may have put in Rasmuran after all.
I'm going to get Karina's attention. I'll be like, riders.
Hey, Mikah, why don't you tuck that special silver bone key thing necklace? Just tuck it right down, like,
Okay.
yeah, so it's
Yep.
not visible.
Okay.
So they come riding up, and as they get closer, and they're not upon you just yet, but you can make out now that the lead rider is in a black robe with gold filigree along the edge, streaming behind him, and his face is hidden behind an ivory mask.
I don't think that's a good thing, but
And the other riders behind him are wearing gray robes and are all masked as well.
Can I make a knowledge religion check to know anything about this?
Yeah.
You can, yeah, by all means.
Oh, yeah, I want to do that too.
I got a 6, so apparently Goblin School didn't cover that.
You were like, these guys? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Neither did mine. I got an
Okay,
8.
all right, yeah.
You don't recognize them, although here's the thing. You don't immediately recognize them, but your brain is going to, wait, I've heard of this, I'm just spacing on it. It's not that you don't know. It's that right at this moment, in your flustered state, it's not coming to you.
Fatigued minds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're tired.
So a few moments go by. Does anyone want to do anything else?
Have I started actually making a medicine check on her?
No, not quite yet.
Okay.
I think Carina will kind of motion to Qundle and maybe Mikah as well to get behind her and Zell. Like, not in a I'm gonna get ready to fight these people way, but like, let's just, subtly
Like protective.
protect the magic users, protect the person who's worried about getting identified as a goblin, and try and kind of shield them a little bit.
I'll move behind her, but Qundle's going to do his best to fake a limp, so when he takes off running later, they'll be surprised.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Limp, little bit of a goblin limp there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I mean, we washed up on shore, right? We could be injured. In fact, I am, in fact, horribly injured, so...
Zell's just going to be stretching with kind of a like, oh, here we go again. To explain why I'm here, who I am. I like their masks, though. Pretty cool.
Do they all have masks or just
All
the
of them.
one? Okay.
The one in the lead, though, all of the rest of them look like they're wearing iron masks.
Okay.
The one in the lead, his is ivory with golden filigree. And he's wearing black robes with similar filigree. And they come riding up. And so you got the two outriders out on the side, and they kind of flank out so that the banners are flapping in the wind. And the most of the rest kind of stay back. And we will call him the leader, because he obviously looks different than the others. He comes riding forward. And as he gets close, he kind of pulls up his horse. And he stays a good distance away. He's not like riding up on you. He stays a good 20 feet away. And he stops, pulls up his horse, and his horse kind of neighs and stops. And at this point in time, you notice that the horse's raiment is like silver and inlaid with gems. The horse's hooves look like they might be silvered. And this is a magnificent animal. The other ones look like they're on kind of standard horses, but his is a gorgeous horse.
That looked like broken old nags compared to this thing.
They comparatively, yeah. His horse looks like it's special. And he stops and he holds up, and the horse just kind of very politely stomps, campers a bit, and then just holds still, looking firm, and its mane blowing in the wind. And he stops, holds up his hands, and he goes, "Friends, all hail the living God."
I say, all hail.
Hi.
We see that you have washed ashore on the fair shores of Razmir. Are you in need of aid?
Well, are you from that city up there?
We are. Yes, they came riding from the north.
Okay. All right. We were actually going to head up there because we're worried there might be more people who have washed ashore.
Indeed. Our patrols have been finding people throughout most of the morning. We've been riding along shore looking for those who were lost in the fire out on the waters last night. We presume you were among them?
Yeah.
And you see him kind of do a head tilt down towards the pile of ash, and then look back up towards all of you. Tell me, friends, are you in need of succor or aid? I should not be rude. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Herald of Razmir Vokar.
So have I heard of Razmir?
Yeah, the moment he says it, now you're like, oh,
okay,
now I know where we are. Yeah.
Oh.
Friend, you look... actually, you're kind of hiding in the back. He doesn't see you, but he does see Mikah, and he looks like, "Friend, you look injured. Might we tend to your wounds?"
Oh, okay.
Well, so we're actually stable and up. Why don't we head up to the city and not use up your resources, and you guys can keep looking for more survivors, and we can just head up there.
He looks at you. Worry not, for the bounty of Razmir is for all. We have plenty to give to those who are in need. Razmir brings peace and prosperity to all. You might have a taste of his succor. Please, let us escort you to the town. We have other watch parties out looking for survivors. Worry not. We shall find them.
I don't think we're getting out of this. I think we should just
Sounds good to me.
along. Huh?
I said the town was bad. Remember I said town is bad?
Yes, I do remember that.
This town
I don't think-
specifically?
So are you actually trying to have a whispered conversation? I'm curious.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm like, hail Razmir. Let's get going.
We just met and we need to figure out like if we're gonna travel together and stuff. So give us just one moment here.
He says, but of course. He does look past and he sees Zell, and you notice him kind of crane to one side and take a look at you, and he says, he looks to you, "Worry not, friends. Razmir accepts all. Be you Iroxy or Goblin, you are welcome in Razmir's paradise.
This place sounds all
Please, but friends, discuss amongst yourselves. We will be here waiting for you."
Alright, I think we just go along with it for now. We are not in a position to put up a fight, and I don't think we're getting out of this.
We're going there anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the
Sounds
pickle I
good.
promised you.
Oh, thank you. Is this the eating pickle or?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have time.
We don't have time for healing. This is a pickle for eating.
No time for extra.
And just
pickles.
kind of an
It's a
FYI, if we get split up or something, these guys are probably cultists. It's not a good thing, and don't agree or join them.
I don't know anything about them. Are they bad? Are they trying to help us?
So if you want to know anything more about Razmir, I'm going to need a religion check.
I don't.
That's a
know
little
anything.
better. That one's gonna be a 17.
So, other faiths tend to look down on Razmir, and you're not entirely sure why. A lot of it, a rumor has that he is a very new god, and his faith is very small and isolated. There are those that whisper darker things about him, that he is not all that he appears to be, but it seems like rumor and hearsay, like you hear about any small-time being of worship. The fact that he supposedly lives in the city just to the north of you, like he lives on Golarion, he lives in Thronestep, and now that you're looking at it, that's probably Thronestep. Is an oddity, but not unheard of. After all, Eredin lived on Golarion for centuries before ascending to godhood. So there's people who are doubtful of his legitimacy as a deity, but who can say?
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're in a position to argue, so we should probably cut this as short as possible so we don't involve ourselves with this group anymore.
They seem like they're trying to help us.
I need a new backpack too. so-
Yeah.
Shopping time.
Shopping.
All right, let's go.
Wait. No one talk about the key?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. No.
What do we
Nothing.
say if they ask about our tattoos?
What tattoos? Wrapping a rag around his forearm.
We got drunk before we left,
yeah.
and even though we just met, we all
We
decided to
got
get
drunk
tattoos.
on the boat, and somebody was
Yeah.
giving out free tattoos.
Yeah.
And we signed up. Okay.
And
cool.
we were the only.
Oh, do we want to
Yeah.
say that story? Because if they already picked up survivors, they might not
the
be able to
tattoo
collaborate.
person died.
that's smart.
They never found him. Right?
Lying is harder to keep straight than not saying anything.
That's true.
This is very true.
So if they ask, oh, we don't talk about it.
Okay.
Because you know what? I don't plan to talk about it.
Okay.
All right.
I don't think they'll ask us.
Friends, would you like to accompany us to Thronestep so that we might give you rest and aid and succor, so that you might taste of Razmir's bounty?
Absolutely.
It would be our pleasure.
Goblins are really welcome.
Of course.
Really, really?
Razmir accepts all into his bounty.
I've never been accepted before.
Hello, the three of us right here.
The rest of them are like, we're right here, buddy.
I guess maybe in an official city capacity.
All right, let's go.
Yeah,
All right.
I like suckers.
So, Herald of Razmir Vokar and his group escort you to Thronestep. As you make your way there, they kind of let you go in front, because if they go behind, they would outpace you because they're on horses. So, as you make your way there, you grow ever closer to the city.
How long does this take?
Well, it's about a mile. So it takes about 20 minutes.
So Qundle's going to ask about Razmir and why he accepts goblins and how he created a paradise. And if he's so great, why haven't I heard about him over by Magnamar? And basically try to get them to talk to him. Being
Sure.
as wide-eyed and shocked that anyone would accept him as he can possibly manage. Note that I don't trust them farther than I can throw them. I'm a little guy. But this seems like an opportunity where he might be able to convince them that he's had a horrible life, which he has, and people mostly kick him out of cities, which they do, and therefore maybe he can actually convince them that he will trust them.
So, as you're walking, Vokar begins to tell you about the glory that is Razmir. He begins to explain that those who offer their faith and devotion to Razmir have a seat at his table, where they will find peace and prosperity everlasting in this life.
And pickles?
If pickles are what you desire, if pickles are the prosperity that you believe in, then they shall be yours. Those who believe in Razmir receive all that their hearts desires in this life.
What about the next one?
The next life? The next life is one for your next incarnation to understand. In Razmir's bounty, you get all that you might be able to sup upon here, now. Why offer toil and devotion for a future life that may or may not be, when Razmir offers you that promise now?
That sounds really good.
And, it's like, remember, forget not the lesson of the first step, where Razmir came to realize that the gods did not deserve his prayers, when he learned that true peace and prosperity should be enjoyed now, in this life. Toil and torture through life for the promise of a reward is not a gamble that he asks of his followers. Give to him your devotion now, and you receive your reward now.
That sounds like a pretty good deal. Why would someone turn that down?
Such are many questions that the non-believers have. They come to us and say, why should we venerate this deity when instead we could venerate others that are distant and inscrutable to us? And we ask the same questions. Why? As he's saying this, you guys are drawing ever closer, and you get closer and closer to the city of Thronestep. And he's taking you toward what I would describe as a grand gate. So it's a walled city. And off to one side of it, to the south side of it, there is a gate. And it is no joke as a gate. There are two, 40-foot tall statues, each holding up a hand. They are masked priest statues that look like they're made entirely of gold.
So this is the Lord of the Rings moment.
It's the Argonauts. Yeah.
Kind of, but they're only 40 feet tall. They're not 400 feet tall.
This place is extra.
But they're 40 feet tall and just holding up their hands there. And between them are two, you're not sure if it's a veneer, but they look like marble doors that are 30 feet tall. And as you approach, there are clarion trumpets that play as the doors swing wide. Ooh. And beyond, you are looking at a promenade that heads deeper into the city, but it looks like the city itself, like this promenade area. And as you approach it and enter it, you see that there are priests all over the place. And as you approach and enter it, you are entering what looks like a garden. Beyond it, there's this promenade that walks up into the city. And you're surrounded by this kind of lush, fertile garden. There are pools. There's peacocks and rare flightless birds wandering around. There are supplicants, and these are people who are not masked or anything, enjoying their breakfast repast on a divan, being attended to by priests, and there are people bathing in the pools and ponds. And meanwhile, you guys are walking up this colonnade and it looks like there's a lot of these statues. They all depict the same individual, this masked figure who is resplendent in robes all carved in marble, and masks. And it looks like there's this trail of 31 of these statues making their way up toward this secondary gate.
Oh. Is that Razmir?
Yes, this is the living God, and this chronicles the 31 steps he took to achieve divinity. Huh. And as he walks you past them, he doesn't describe all of them because there is 31 of them. And but he does mention a few in particular. He gets to that first one where the very first one where Razmir is holding out his hands, and dangling from his fingers are actual silver holy symbols from all these different deities, and he's staring at them, and that is emblematic of the first step that Razmir took. And he continues going on. And mind you, the other priests that are with him have not spoken at all this entire time. Only Vokar has been speaking.
He's been vocalizing.
He's been vocaralizing. And as you get kind of closer and closer toward the end, he gets to a statue and he kind of stops and he says, This is the 22nd step that Razmir took. And let us not forget the lesson of the 22nd step, wherein Razmir, upon encountering a beggar and explaining to this poor beggar the philosophy that he was espousing, the beggar believed in Razmir and gave upon Razmir his last coin. He gave it to Razmir as a promise of his faith and his devotion. Razmir saw this and lifted him up, making him one of his first heralds. This poor beggar who believed in Razmir, who gave to Razmir, who shared in prosperity with his fellows, earned Razmir's love, earned Razmir's affection. Those who do not give of themselves do not deserve the mercies, the prosperities of Razmir. It is an important lesson for you to learn.
What number herald are you?
These days there are so many of us that we are not numbered anymore. Only in the early days were the heralds numbered, and many of those ascended the steps. You see, as we grow closer to Razmir, we ascend the steps of Razmir and are allowed to draw ever closer to our god.
What step are you on?
I am a herald of the 7th step.
Oh, wow.
Is that high or low?
I am but 7 steps along the path.
Okay. All right.
Of 31.
There are many more to take.
I didn't know if there were 7 steps left or if you got up 7 steps. All right.
No, should you give yourself to Razmir, maybe one day you might be allowed to take the 1st step. And there you would be presented to Razmir and be allowed to step upon the 1st step on the throne that leads to his holy seat.
Has anybody made it up all 31 steps besides Razmir?
None can ascend the final step save Razmir, for he is the living god. One would not dare to propose to be on the same level as Razmir.
Of course not.
But Razmir has many who have ascended to the 2nd step. They are his closest counsel and advisors. Now, please, we must figure out where we shall shelter you. Unfortunately, we have many prosperous merchants and wealthy nobles in town at the moment. Normally, we would possibly put you up in some of the finest quarters we have, as you are in need. But I'm afraid many of them have already paid for their rooms. Now, we could perhaps ask them to leave, but I would need to be able to compensate them. So I must ask, are you willing to compensate these poor merchants, and then I shall put you up in these rooms? If not, we have other accommodations for you.
I think other accommodations would work. I am curious, not that it's a bad thing, I'm just curious here. If Razmir's whole thing is about sharing wealth and succor with people, why wouldn't these merchants or these wealthy business people share with us?
Indeed, they might be asked to, but they are not actually members of the faithful yet,
there you go.
See.
Okay.
Yes, we ask such of the faithful and those who would give. So we would not take their prosperity from them
Sure.
without compensation.
Makes sense.
That is not in Razmir's way.
Okay.
I don't want to make anyone move.
Yeah,
I think lesser is fine.
I think we're fine with other accommodations.
Very well. And he points to the hill. And mind you, from here, it's just nothing but ostentatious. You're close now. Everything's marble. Everything's gilded in gold. And that, he says, that is the neighborhood we call the Steps. That is where I could have taken you, but alas, we shall take you to the Stones instead. And he takes you, instead of going the left up towards the gilded path, he takes you to the right. And the right is not gilded. In fact, remember when I described the city, I said there was a hill and then there was like a town around it? You're taken to the town around it, which, to be frank, looks a lot more like every other town you have ever visited in your life.
Goodness.
Karina looks around at the other people like, that's probably a good thing.
Qundle will say quietly to her, "Steps and stones may break our bones."
So, make sure I have the right page out. There we are. Okay. So,
Why do you still have a zombie here on the...
this is my hero point.
Okay.
Or my
all right.
villain point.
Good.
Sorry.
Good.
Yeah,
Good to know.
to be
Yeah.
clear.
All right. It's a zombie.
So, Herald of Razmir Vokar takes you into the district called the Steps, the Stones. And he takes you there, and he begins winding you through it. And his lessons are now over because you're done with the statues now.
Are they also on horseback too?
Yes, but a bunch of them peeled off.
Oh.
It's now just Vokar, the 2 bannermen, and 2 additional priests.
Just enough so they outnumber us.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so they outnumber you by 1. And Vokar is but mind you, there are priests everywhere now. But now that you've gotten past the kind of promenade, I would call it, and you're now in the stones, you see a lot more common folk, right? People who are not priests, people who are not. In fact, you see a lot of people holding out hands. You know, you see a lot of beggars, and you see priests who walk along and hand them bread or coins or stuff. You see that happening.
But no peacocks.
No, there's no peacocks anymore. That's done. And you're taken down this road, and in fact, it looks very specifically like a kind of straight shot road from that gate. And as you go down it, you see priests helping the poor and the destitute, kind of at every turn. Almost like, is the whole district like this? It seems really heavy. And you see, you know, merchants going about their business, and you know they are doing business with the priests, and you know the priests are going about their business. But you see more and more ordinary people.
Are you still limping?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so, I mean, let's be honest. I haven't had to make a deception check. He may occasionally forget to limp, but on the other hand, I only have 4 hit points left, so
gonna say,
limping
yeah.
probably isn't much of a stretch.
So as you kind of make your way through the steps, he just keeps riding, and you see him. He mostly spends most of his time now hailing other priests. So you know he'll call out to them. You know, all hail the living God. You know, peace and prosperity to you is what he will call to other priests. And they kind of exchange pleasantries like that. It's a lot of sayings. And the only real ornamentation you see is like in public squares where there are statues to Razmir that are like fountains, where he's like holding out his hand and water is coming out. And yeah, it's all overwrought. And about you know, about 5-10 minutes later, traveling through this, you arrive at another. The district itself doesn't look like it has many walls in it, but you've already passed through one, like inside the stones, and you're now passing through another one. And as you pass through this gatehouse, because there's a bit of a gatehouse, you notice that you're now in kind of a poorer district. The buildings now look a bit more rundown. They don't look quite as nice. Many of them look like they're very water damaged or very old, and he's like, here we are. Welcome to the sanctuary. This is a place that we have set aside specifically to help those who come to us in their direst of needs. As it is clear that you are. They are not our nicest accommodations. I will not pretend that they are. But this is the district that I run, and I want to make sure that all those who come to us in desperate need of aid can find at least this to rest, recover, and recuperate. But as you make your way in here, it looks like there's a lot of poor people here, a lot of beggars. You see a fair number of them moving about. There are priests of Razmir here. You still see them handing out coins and bread and stuff like that, but far fewer. They're now outnumbered.
No silver coins, few copper coins, a lot more just bread.
Yeah, here's a quarter of a loaf of bread, right? Yeah. So he takes you in there, and eventually you find yourselves at the door to what looks like it was once a large inn or tavern, or possibly a bit of a warehouse associated with an inn and tavern. It's a little hard to tell. And he's like, here we are. And he dismounts, and as he dismounts, you can see that hanging from his waist, he has some large, incredibly ornate flail at his waist that's kind of tied up. But the thing that caught, I think, Zell, this would probably catch your eye because you have the highest perception, is that the like chain of the flail looks like it's made of platinum coins that have had holes drilled in them, so that it's like a platinum chain, and the head of it looks like 4 golden masks of Razmir. It's this really ornate looking weapon that's just hanging at his waist. And he says, here we are. Welcome to Razmir's bounty, and there's kind of a hand-painted sign on it. This looks like a I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This looks like a dilapidated flop house.
Is the Z backwards?
No, the Z is not backwards, but it does not look great. And he's like, here, Mistress Amorin will be able to tend to your wounds and give you a place to rest and recuperate. And he goes to the doors and opens them up and lets you go inside.
Does he come with?
No.
Okay.
I just say, thanks, Vokar.
Yep.
Okay.
If we want to learn more about Razmir, what do we do next?
There are many priests throughout the district that you can speak to, and perhaps I shall pay you a visit on the morrow to speak about your devotion. I will personally continue to tutor you.
Oh, I'm sure I don't deserve that.
How blessed we would be from that, says
Very.
Zell, he's like forcing a smile. A lizard smile.
Is there
To be clear, a lizard smile is really weird because you don't
Yeah.
really have lips.
Yeah, it's kind of just...
You're just more like baring teeth. Yeah.
is there anywhere that we shouldn't go that we want to stay away from that you would recommend we as guests just not go? It's not
Vokar looks to you. No, you are perfectly safe here in
Oh, I'm
the
not. I
city
don't
of
mean
Fernstein.
safety. I of course I trust that everything
Zell
here is
looks
safe.
at his flail
I
as
just
he
mean
says that.
every city's got places where it's you might want to stay away from. Just they wouldn't be pleasant to go to.
He looks at you, and he doesn't have eyebrows on his mask. But you can tell he
creepy.
stops for a moment and kind of he says, there are places that are restricted only to the faithful, if that is what you mean.
Not quite, but it's clear that I don't need to worry about this. So.
No, you perhaps do not.
Okay.
The Steppes is a district for the faithful and those who are interested in having an audience with Razmir. As such, it is generally restricted for their access only. But other than that, feel free to explore my district, as he kind of points around to this
Wonderful, thank you, goodbye.
slum.
Zell raises an eyebrow.
Hey, it's better than anything I own, so...
Yeah. So you are able to go inside Razmir's bounty?
Yeah? It's separating us from this creepy priest guy, and I think that's for the best.
I think we're in the part of town that we would probably
Yeah.
want to avoid. So
What part of town would we like to avoid? The part of town that we're in.
this one.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Great.
No, it doesn't get worse than this. This is...
He does run this.
At the bottom of
place we're in.
stones is rock bottom.
That's funny enough. You actually are in kind of the lowest district. As
who'd
you've
have
been
thought?
traveling,
Yeah.
you've been going further and further downhill from the steps. Although you did notice that wherever you are, you can always look up to the steps. It's always there, glowing and shining bright, even if between you and it there's like 4 walls. So you enter the Razmir's bounty, and the first thing that assaults you is the smell. It's old. It smells mildewy. It smells close. It's like it's got that humid stink of an old building.
Qundle looks much more comfortable than he did on the street.
Yeah, fair. The second thing you notice is the cough. Someone nearby has a really ragged cough, and you can just hear it kind of echoing through the chambers of this place. And I say chambers because it's clear that this entire place is divided up into tiny rooms that are interconnected. It's not like there's hallways. They're just rooms that have doors between them, and it just kind of sprawls out in every direction. And as you come inside, there is an older woman who approaches you, and she's wearing kind of a tightly wrapped shawl about her. She's not wearing a mask or anything like that, and she says, new visitors. The priests have brought us new visitors. Well, welcome to Razmir's bounty. Who are all of you? And she has a book, and she looks like she's about to write it all down.
Refugees from a ship that sank. Refugee 1, Refugee 2, Refugee 3, Refugee
Peace and
4.
prosperity to you.
Yeah.
Yes. She kind of does the peace and prosperity
okay.
to you as well.
I like her.
We were told we could have a shelter here, maybe, at least for the night.
Of course. I shall take it to you in just a moment. All of your names?
Poog Dimplefoot.
Poog Dimplefoot. Very good. Poog?
Mikah.
Mikah. All right. And she's just writing these down. I think you got Carina already, right? No.
No, she said.
She hasn't said her name. No.
Yeah, no. She's waiting for names.
Okay. I think Carina would have been like, okay, finally getting pressured into saying her name, but after you two gave fake names, she's like, crap, do I need to give a fake name now? So she's like, Serena Fisperbane.
Serena Fisperbane. She goes, yes, very good. And you, my scaly friend?
So he's not necessarily dumb, but he's not the fastest. He's just kind of like, so he's like, Carina.
Your name is Carina.
Yeah.
All right.
Common Eruxy name.
All right.
You should have said Zell with two L's.
Very good. Come with me and I will show you to where you might get some rest. And she grabs a set of old rusty-looking keys and begins taking you from room to room. And as you are taken from room to room, you see your fellow inhabitants. You see a where's my note on that? There it is. A kind of destitute-looking man who's just in the corner of one room, and he looks at you furtively as you make your way through. Human man, little doughy. He doesn't talk to you at all. He just kind of stares at you wide-eyed. You get to the next room, and you see a gnome who's just balled up in one corner on a straw mat. Who's got his knees balled up around him, and he looks up at his hair, and he can see white on it, and he rips it out and throws it on the floor and just looks at it terrified. You get to the next room, and it's just kind of empty, and she says, "Not quite here, over here. This one's more comfortable." And she takes you to a room that she walks in and pulls a table out that has a kind of weird-looking, mysterious stain on top of it, and she kind of pulls that out into the hallway, and it's then you notice in the back there's a pile of kind of straw mats, and she's like, "You can rest here. I'll be by in a bit with some cold fish stew from last night if you're hungry, but you can get some rest here. There are a few rules here at Rasmir's Bounty. Be back before nightfall. I lock up the doors then. Don't be out on the streets at night. The priests don't like it when the poor sleep on the cobbles. Food is served twice per day. That's what we have. Any coin that you could give helps us give a bit better food to everyone. No fights. Please, no more fights. And finally, leave the other guests alone. Each one is here to rest and recuperate." She kind of rolls her eyes.
So, Qundle's going to dig in his pouch and get a silver piece.
Mm-hmm.
The grubbiest, dirtiest silver piece he has.
Yeah.
Look around. Is this worth anything?
She kind of takes it and bites it as if to be like, is it real silver? And at this point in time, you can see her wretched, horrible teeth. And she kind of bites it and says, "It'll help." She kind of gives you a nod. And then she turns to walk away, leaving you in your accommodations. The door, you quickly come to realize, you look at the door and you realize there's not even a handle. It just closes and opens. And as she walks away, across the, and I don't say hall because it's just another small room, but across the small room you see another room that you didn't go in. And in the doorway of that room, there's a real skinny-looking guy, real greasy-looking hair. He's wearing kind of soiled black leathers, and standing behind him is a half-orc woman who's titanic. I mean, she's literally huge. And she just like dwarfs behind him to the point where you can't even see the top of her head behind the door frame. And she's just sitting there with her hands held together, and the little greasy guy is picking a fingernail with a tiny, sharp-looking, vicious dagger, and he just kind of looks at all of you, and he kind of just gives a nod and a smile. And that is where I'm ending today's session. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you guys have enjoyed session 3 of the Oblivion Oath as our party has arrived in the glorious town of Thronestep to enjoy some of Razmir's bounty. We will see you next Thursday at noon for more fun times. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
folks.
Bye.
Hail Razmir.